Hello and welcome back to FSL Dota 2 Open. My name is Holler and I'm with Arthur, and now we are at the upper bracket finals between Bren Esports and Foxy Gaming. And Foxy Gaming just came off a 60-minute game or so. I know that you caught some of that game, Arthur. Tell me your thoughts.
I just look at the very end of it. I didn't manage to catch too much, but it was very interesting because you talk about how strong the Pacific ping was, and then they were managed to Foxy Gaming coming in as an underdog, managed to win that powerhouse out, close the game out in the 60-minute game. I don't know. I don't have much thought. I just hope that you went for a toilet break because this game might be a long game as well.
You know, I wonder how it's going to play out because Bren Esports, obviously, they had the luxury of just being able to watch that game, and they kind of got some tips, I'm sure, especially with some of the bans like the Undying Centaur, just kind of starting that one off. So they had a little bit of an advantage in that sense. But, you know, they are well rested, right? Which, you know, coming off a 60-plus minute game, that is no small feat in and of itself. But to play another game after that and potentially, you know, winner bracket final, this is a bit of a hard one for Foxy.
Yeah, you talk about how fatigue would just come in the middle of the day and then start affecting the players. This might be the third or fourth game for Foxy Gaming, and they just ended a 60-minute game. So I think if fatigue is a thing, it might be happening in this game, especially on how intense the last game were. And let's talk about draft. Bren Esports, this is exactly the same 4 picks that they picked for themselves at the first series of the day. So you can tell that this is the absolute best or the absolute most comfortable draft that they can have them for themselves. And I don't really like this Spectre pick a lot for Foxy Gaming, to be very honest. Picking into AA and Lash, that's a lot of punishment coming up from Bren for this Spectre pick.
Well, then you kind of need to like lean on Abaddon in the sense of just keeping you alive. You know, you have the Mystic Coil and the shield and whatnot just to kind of keep you up. But obviously, there's a lot of concern. There's a tremendous amount of burst from Bren that could potentially be there. But we're gonna have to see how this one plays out. Of course, just like any other game. But again, I think you brought up a good point in the sense that Bren are bringing their A game and they're ready to play for this upper bracket final as their guaranteed top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this trial once again from Bren. Mirana thinking A, there's a lot of setup for Ice Blast, there's a lot of Chain Stun and Magical Burst as well. One thing that's very underrated is AA's, what do you call that? The second spell that the slow? Do you remember what is it called? I couldn't remember. But anyways, it gives AoE magic amplification for 30% at level 4. I think that's gonna amplify so much damage from this Lash Track. And basically, without BKB, it's going to be so hard for Foxy's Gaming's cores to play in the middle, in the mid game. I mean, if you look at Ember Spirit Spectra, they're not the cores that would want to buy BKB at all.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're kind of going all in with the whole magic damage spell amplification. By the way, it's called Ice Vortex.
Yes, Ice Vortex.
But, you know, they've got a whole bunch of magic. I mean, if you're looking at, you know, Mirana, Sand King, AA, Leshek, all of these guys are just kind of bringing magic damage to the table. So they're going to have to counter it with a pipe very early, and they've picked a great offlaner and somebody who's holding auras like that and in Mars in and of itself. So I think that they're kind of preparing themselves for a very long and drawn-out firefight.
Yeah, I like this Mars pick. It's mainly for the Lash. So what Lash want to be doing here is that with she will always want to be threatening towers with Diabolic. So Mars is one of the better heroes to defend towers, and when Lash is close to the tower, it's going to be easy for Mars to just catch her in the arena and spear her through the wall. So Mars is always one of the better heroes against heroes like Lashrak, Pogna, all these heroes that want to be up front in front of the tower to do tower damage. And this last pick coming out from Bren, Lifestealer against Mars, Gil is gonna have no pressure at all in the lane, in the mid game, unless she got caught by the hacks into a lot of chain stun. Otherwise, I don't see Lifestealer going down easily against Foxy Gaming, and also Lifestealer one of better hero against Spectra for sure with the Amulet and Day Soviet.
Yeah, it's actually it's a really nice last pick here. I mean, it's no gotcha pick or anything like that, but it's a solid one. It's a position one that you need. Obviously, Rage is going to be great. You have your get out of jail free card in terms of Mars Arena with, you know, Rage and all that. So you have definitely outs, and you don't really have a whole lot of the control that you had in previous games. So I feel like Bren Esports, you know, this is a very good last pick. But the thing is that now you're looking at this is, do they have the tankier type? Because Sand King is more like the controller. You don't really have that guy that's going to be standing up front, and it's probably going to be Gil in this case. And is she able to withstand all that punishment and survive, and basically survive so that she can do her own damage?
Yeah, that's very true. That's a solid point because if you look at Bren, Sand King would want to be staying behind. She would want to be playing the initiator type, so she want to remain hidden. So the only one that can really soak out damage is the Life Stealer. So, but Life Stealer doesn't really want to be always in front of the team though, because she will also want to be coming into the fight at the last to do some cleanup. So Lash Track might be the biggest target here for Foxy Gaming. If they could bring down the Lash Track first, it would remove so much damage department of the Bren Esports, and there's no save for the Lash Track as well. Once he's gone on, she's basically dead. If she doesn't have the item like Sanch, Kaya, BKB, or even though they use, she would be in such a be in such an exposed situation where she could get instantly burst down by the fingers and Mars.
And getting the finger and Mars to just go off, you need to ensure that you've got a great frame rate, a great processor, and all you need is high frame rates, low latency gaming with the 11th gen Intel Core processor. Of course, one of our sponsors, so big shout out to them, plus Tokenized Exchange and Yahoo, because without them, we would not have had any of this. And this is, of course, FSL Dota 2 Open. This is going to be the upper bracket the upper bracket finals. This is the last one and the last game that we're going to be streaming today. We're going to have more games coming at you tomorrow. So please do stay tuned for the rest of the tournament. Obviously, all of these players need to kind of rest. We need to rest as well, but we're going to be coming at it and we're going to find out who's going to make it to the grand finals in this game alone. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is in?
Well, looking at the draft, I'm liking Bren's draft a lot. I like this trio coming up from Bren. I think they are going to be setting a lot of good kills up for their two cores. And Life Stealer has been my favorite carry to go up against Spectre, not only because it's a good matchup for Life Stealer. He could also itemize very well into taking objective early on and also taking Roshan early on, which is one of the better ways to deal with the Spectre. And also, man fighting is not an issue at all for Life Stealer. So I like the room for Life Stealer to perform this game. I think Gil is gonna have a pretty good game if he doesn't have a lot of misplay in the mid game, catching out by the Lion, or so to speak, just dying out of nowhere. I think she would be pretty fine.
All right, well, the Burrow strike, and they're just kind of forcing the action, so to speak, on the Spectre. Nana here. And mind you, this is going to be the all-Thailand team. This is against the Filipino team of Bren Esports. So if you're from either of these countries, you have a horse in this race, and I'm sure you're going to cheer for them. And it's very exciting to see the teams that kind of make their way into the high level. Mind you, Bren Esports does have that one Singaporean player in Gia. But aside from that, nothing but Filipinos.
Yeah. Do you think language is gonna be an advantage here for Foxy Gaming since they are all Thai and they're speaking in their own same language?
I mean, of course it's a slight advantage. I think it's more of an advantage outside of the game. I think once you're in the game, you've got enough. Like, at the end of the day, you might just be pinging or go, or, retreat or back. You know what I mean? Like, those are, like, simple ones, right? So I don't think that you need to be, like, explaining and, like, you know what I mean, where language could be a huge issue. And I think you're seeing that more in professional Dota, where players from all over the place are playing together, regardless of language, because Dota is that universal language.
Yeah, that's true. It's more for the outside of game communication, replay analysis and stuff whatnot. The top lane, Ligaya and Hazel has already gotten a kill on the Abaddon.
And these two have been playing together for such a long time. They have great synergy. I mean, the fact that these heroes alone, you got the burrow striking into the arrow, you just have a lot of potential for kills. And they just got the first blood on that one, catching out Honey Lisa.
Yeah, this Sand King plus Mirana is such an old school combo. I think this is the third game with this duo in today's game overall. Yeah. And I think Neon has been picking up this duo a lot more as well. It just tells you how strong they are, and especially in draft right now, you can always flex the Sand King to the mid lane, so it gives even more value to pick this Sand King early on.
And Abaddon here is, I mean, you've got the curse. You kind of want somebody who's going to man fight you. And, speaking of which, Arrow, okay, Photic Shield, keeping him alive for now. But usually you don't want somebody elusive, right? Because once you get the slow on them, when you got that curse, and then they just try to walk away and they have a hard time. But they have Burrow Strike, they have Leap, so kind of not a great laning opponent, so to speak, for that Abaddon.
Absolutely. But I just want to point out something that Mary is completely crushing this mid lane. 20 last hit compared to the 7 on Ember Spirit. I knew that I talked about this. I said Lashrak would have a slight advantage. I just did not expect Mary to push that advantage so far forward. And meanwhile, Jia forced to the Mars at the bottom lane.
Yeah, and she's okay. So I mean, let's be honest. Miri is like one of the top tier mids in this tournament in and of itself. I think we've seen that time and time again. We've seen a ton of her Bren Esports games already today, and we've just seen her pretty much dominate almost every single matchup or come out somewhat even. She doesn't really lose the lane, which is pretty much what you want as a mid laner.
Yeah, that's true. You will always have like to have a stable mid laner. If she could play the advantageous lane out like how it should be, that would be even perfect.
Yep. All right, so last hits alone. I mean, Spectre does have 20, so she's doing all right. Hazelia has 22 and 5, but Sand King usually has that edge against the Spectre. I mean, just being melee oriented, right?
Yeah, but this is not a lane that Spectre is worrying at all because of the Caustic Finale from Sand King. Sand King will always be pushing the lane into Spectre Tower, and Spectre will just be farming pretty easily under the tower. She's already building into the Blade Mill early on so that she could amplify her farming speed a little bit faster after it's up.
Okay. All right. And if we're looking at Ember, is actually the lowest in terms of the cores with just 12 and 1. Is that worrying, or can Ninja come back?
That is very worrying because I feel like if you look at Foxy's draft, Ember Spirit is the only hero that can move around and create something to happen. And then also it means that she needs to have a lot of high level, like pretty decent levels. She's level 5, but then looking at the net worth, she would need to take so much time for the recovery. It means that the game is going to be very stagnant for Foxy Gaming for a while. And that might be a trouble if Lashrak is the one making move first.
Yeah, and if anyone knows Bren Esports Miri at all, Leshrak is like her horse. You know what I mean? In the sense that she rode in on. She is very comfortable with this hero and just doing all sorts of tricks just to make it very difficult for Ning to get anything going. But as I say that, Cat Chaser getting a little low in the bottom lane. We haven't talked too much about this one. What do you think about this matchup here?
Oh, this is tough for the Mars.
Ooh, the Burrow Strike, or the Earth Spike is gonna connect. Gia getting a little low. Arrow is off the mark. Cat Chaser just trying to run out of the range and getting a little low, and Bristle Front goes down when you shoot him in the back.
Yeah, Lifestealer, once he get a hit on the Mars, the Ghost Frenzy is gonna kick in. But at the time, it's gonna be really hard for Mars to keep running. Especially Mars went for this Ring of Health early on instead of items like Chainmail or Boost of Speed. It means that Mars is super slow against a Lifestealer.
Yeah, she's gonna have a hard time. She's gonna TP in now, but I mean the lane is in a decent spot, level 5, mind you. Oh, but not where you want to be. Rage is gonna be used. Spear just back on to Miri, who just gets pushed back, and it looks like they're gonna disengage here. Gil is level 5, does need to be careful. More TPs are on the way. Reinforcements, but that arrow was on point. Hex up, the chains. Here comes Ninin. This is one way to deal with it. They split Earth, just kind of zoning more than anything else. The Remnant on forward. Sleepless is taking some damage. Miri is out of mana, so not really able to do much but right click, and she gets chained back, and she got left behind. She's taken a decent amount of damage, and in the end, Gil actually goes down.
Yeah, initially it was a good rotation coming out from Lashrak, utilizing the fact that a huge wave is pushing into the dire tier, the bottom tier 1 tower, and it was a siege wave as well. So Diabolic level 3 on Lash, that it could be easily taking down the tower, but also good counter initiation coming out from the Ember Spirit with the Arcane Rune. That really sealed the deal for them. Very good tower defense coming out from Foxy side, and this is something that they absolutely have to do. They need to repel this tower pushing coming out from the Lashrak as much as they could.
I feel like they were a little too aggressive though in the bottom lane, right? Like you know, it seems like they should have let the Mars go a little bit sooner, and then, you know, once you're past the tower and they TP on in, you really don't have anywhere to go, so to speak. So a little of a reach by Bren Esports in that one.
Yep. There's a line that they have to identify whether or not they can cross. And Mary is already again making rotations to the top lane, finding the strongest hero on his team to play with, which is the Sand King for sure. Level 7 right now, has already completed the Wheel of Discord. So a lot more magical damage coming out from the Bren Esports in general. Once AA gets more skill point on Ice Vortex, they're just gonna roll over Foxy Gaming with the insane amount of magic damage.
There's going to be a ton coming in. And, okay, Honey Lisa level 5. Nana, on the other hand, is kind of giving it up. I mean, she's already lost her tower top, so she's kind of stuck in the jungle. But Gia here, level 5, is looking to turn this around. Sleepless. Oh, the arrow's a little off the mark. And Poppy, or Ligaya, excuse me, hasn't had that easy of a time. I mean, the last time we saw this combination, there were more reliable stuns, so it was much easier to hit those arrows. But this time, it looks like there's a little bit of a struggle in that sense.
Yeah, seems like there's gonna be a big fight coming. Sand King is here. Sleepless. Wait, what?
Earth Spike? Okay, all right, Sleepless. Maybe a little bit tired from the last one, but she misses off completely off the mark, actually.
Not only that, Sand King just completely walks by him. I guess that both of sides are just pretending to not see each other.
All right, Ningen on the other hand, still 34-3, bottom of the cores at least, and it's 10 minutes. Jill is looking to turn this up and just chasing the cat chaser, who has to actually TP away, and Gil actually continues to attack when no real chance of stopping that TP.
Mars, he TP all the way back to his own base, so he's gonna take a long time for him to travel all the way to either mid lane or bottom lane. Gets the boots finally, but without TP for 60 seconds, this is where Lasher can really be putting down some pressure on the side lanes.
Yeah, and I think you need to be kind of forcing the issue, take away space as much as as well as Hazelia has done in terms of just taking out the top tower. I think you need to start taking out the mid and just basically choke out the Spectre, because if Spectre has no place to farm, she's just gonna really struggle this game. Oh, TPs are coming. It's going to be in the mid lane. And if we're going to just go in. All right, in the mid lane. And here we go. Nana gets Blade Mail up, but Moonlight has been used, and Hazelia is looking to focus on. They do get Nana in the end. Honey Lisa is getting a little bit low, but they've already lost 2 heroes. Arrow is going to be a little off the mark and earn just on Honey Lisa one last time before she runs away.
That's the power of the A, the level 6 A, fresh Ice Blast. That is the strongest spell in Dota 2, almost, especially with so much reliable stuns to set her up with the Ice Blast. Mars with the hood can't even repel all the damage, and not to mention Spectre Horn in just to die. So Spectre might want to just calm himself down, just keep farming with the Blade Mail, because this is definitely not the time that she will want to be looking to contribute to your team. Because level 7, even though with the Horn, she's not doing any damage at all.
Yeah, she just needs to farm, and she just needs to not really go into any fight. I mean, all she has is Blade Mail. Really not much that she can do. So yeah, she doesn't really want to be seen on the map anytime soon. Just give her some space and just kind of create a distraction elsewhere just so that she can get some farm.
Yeah, she needs to understand that everything her team is doing for her is to just buy time for her to be big. Because that's just very similar to the DOTA lineup. And Spectre just need to be very disciplined in terms of how she decides to join the team fight. Last track, building up the U scepter already, so that's gonna be her offensive / defensive items. That's gonna help her survive in the Mars combo as well. If she got lucky, maybe dodging some spears, that might be game changing for Mary here. So let's see what she wants to do with the really early skill scepter picked up. She also has one of the best items, Ferris Trinket, for herself.
That's very good, actually. And she's almost got Yules. If we're looking at net worth, she's tops. Gil is on second place. So they're kind of starting to pull away a little bit. But when you have a Spectre on, and yeah, using Blade Mail there, and Miri will just back off now. But, I mean, when you've got a Spectre on your team, it's a never say die hero. Oops. Oh, they got in the mid lane. Nice Ice Blast there. They do find Cat Chaser, who's going to use Arena, but she does end up cracking to it. Moonlight is going to be used. Hazelia does go down. Honey Lisa has got borrowed time, but Split Earth, and they focus on Honey Lisa. She goes down. Nice Earth Spike onto 2. Sleepless is going to run away. Ligaya leaps in forward, goes right for it. It gets the nice arrow, and that does connect. Nining is running for her life. She tries to remnant forward. She's running away. The chains on Gil right under the T2. But it looks like they're going to back off for now. But it's a 3-for-1. Pretty nice trade, at least for Bren Esports.
Yeah, Mars was overestimating himself too much there. Yeah, she was playing around with the Sand King, and then Sand King all of a sudden just burst strike him into arrow and ice blast, and the Mars just died like that. And that's another two. That's a pretty huge stack that got stolen by Bren Esports as well. That's a very good tempo coming out from them, taking towers, taking stacks, and Jill completing Armlet very soon, and they should be able to go for another round of fight. Sand King very close to the Blink Dagger, gives her about 2.5 minutes, and she'll be able to get the Blink Dagger, and that's another round of tempo that Bren Esports can play with.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to see how they play out. I mean, it's only a 5K net worth difference. I still feel like they've got a chance, but it like they need to. You need to push out the other lanes so that Spectre has a little bit more time and a little bit more space. And I feel like they're really cramped right now. I mean, if you're looking at where Spectre is right now, even the Ice Blast just kind of harassing, so Nana doesn't feel comfortable at all. You're gonna have a hard time, especially going up against a stalwart team like the Bren Esports team we have here.
Yeah, 100%. I'm also looking at Ember Spirit's item. He's going for Blade Mail himself, obviously for the last rack. But the thing is, we see Spectre going for Blade Mail, we see Ember Spirit going for Blade Mail. I understand that Blade Mail is a pretty good farming item for a spec, but not really for the Ember Spirit though. Because Ember Spirit, he will almost always want to have the Maelstrom. It's a damage item for himself. It's a farming item as well. Going for the Blade Mail means that this Ember, if he doesn't get the successful fight that he's looking for, he's gonna be outskilled by this Lasher in a lot of ways.
And
so that's my biggest.
Definitely don't want to get behind.
Exactly. That's my biggest worry for Ember Spirit, because if you look at the net worth right now, Lasher is already about 2k ahead of him. And there's so many ways Lasher can play this game out. If he sees the Ember Spirit getting Blade Mail, he could easily just itemize for the early BKB or early Bloodstone that can heal himself up. So Lasher he always have the decision making to put him in the better situation compared to the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and to be honest, I feel like Miri's done quite well, but with that hero, you kind of it's like Pugna style in the sense that you just want to be pushing towers, right? You want to be aggressive. You want to just kind of take advantage of that early peak that you have and the fact that they aren't able to deal with your magic damage. But Arena's going to be used, and they found Hazelia, so that's a pretty good win, at least for Foxy.
Yeah, that's a very deep positioning there by Hazelia. It's all good though, because this death does not turn into any objective for Foxy. Foxy's used a lot of ultimates for that. The Arena, the Fingers of Death as well. All they got was a Sand King kill in front of the tower. That's totally acceptable for Bren Esports. That would be a good death, if you ask me.
All right, it's weird when you say good death, because I feel like every time I die, I try to just sell myself as, oh, that was a good death, but nobody believes me.
It's okay, they're not as smart as you, they don't see it.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 steps ahead, I'm creating space, I'm just pushing it forward. That's why I died, duh.
Yeah, a finger used on me is a 1 finger less used on the Lash, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so you would understand why I would be making these quote-unquote mistakes, but they're actually good plays. I'm taking it for the team.
Today onwards, everyone that is watching this stream, if they're post 5, they'll be diving so much more.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, that was a good death. That's what I learned today.
This is why I learned from Haller.
No. Actually, you said it, but then I just validated it. So it's completely on you. But mind you do some educational content on your stream, and where can they find you on Facebook?
Yeah, we are gonna see Honey Lisa is gonna die. Anyway, if you guys want to see more of me, we'll talk about it later.
Real quick, Haunt comes in. They found the Mars, and they get the nice little stun on Hazelia. And Nana now needs to run for her life. Yeah, she's got Blade Mail, but they'll absorb that damage. She goes down as well. That's 3 for nothing. And this is not looking good for Foxy Gaming.
Yeah, Nana gotta be saying no to her team. No, I don't want to be fighting. Because every single time Nana goes into team fight, the moment he haunts in, she just straight up died. because the disable coming out from Bren are so cheap, the CDs are so low, and now they have Vessel completed on Ligaya as well on the Mirana. There's so many ways for them to take down this Spectre. So she really gotta be careful and just be patient. Just keep farming, wait for the perfect timing to horn in, wait for all the rounds of disable to be used already, then go into the fight.
Yeah. I mean, the team right now, anytime you get engaged by Bren, I think you just need to disengage, salvage what you can, and make sure that Spectre is farming elsewhere, right? That's all space right now. And as I say that, they take the bottom T1, which is going to take away that space.
Yeah, now Bren unlocks the way to get into the jungle. Oh, Honey Lisa once again tanking the smoke. She's not going to heal up because of the Ice Blast.
But she's full, and they're looking to turn this around. They've got Dust on. Moonlight, the spear is going to be a little off the mark, and Hazelia actually did the okie doke, and she went back in. And Cat Chaser's trying to look around, but found Jill, and that's really not the one you want to be fighting with. They're going to back off here. Mind you, there's no borrowed time, so there is a little bit of an opening, and they found at least the Ember, who has to Yules, and they've got the Epicenter being charged. The arena's now going to be used, but I don't know if they go for this all the way. Bulwark is also going to be used as well. They do get Ligaya. And here we go. They're looking to turn this around. The Epicenter, the Infest, and they right out and they blow him up. And it's a 3-for-1. That was a very good trade for Bren Esports.
Yeah, Bren actually messed up their spell usage for a bit. Hazel went in with the Blink Stun, and then Mary used the Ember Spear up, and then missed the kill on that. But surprisingly, Nana came in to join the fight, so they saw this Spectre instantly. They turned everything on the Spectre, and she just died. Or Jado, she's getting punished here again, tanking the 2 minutes long fingers of death. So this means one last finger on the lash or the lifestealer.
You know, like if it was any other spell, I'd be okay with that. But the fact that like it was the finger and you're getting that bonus, it's kind of like and not the greatest. I mean, it's a position 5. Don't get me wrong, but you're like it could. It's not the best deal, sacrificing yourself, so to speak, here.
Yeah, well, still though, this is 2 minutes without a finger, so Bren thought they can choose to go for another tier 2 tower. They can also choose to go for the Roshan as well. There are a lot of choices that Bren can play around with, but I would like to see them sticking together to do one move. Because they can literally do anything they want. The least they can do is to feed away their current
The smoke has been popped, and they thought it was the high ground, and instead they found Nana, oh my gosh, with the Infest Bomb and with the Ice Blast on top. That was perfectly in sync. Honey Lisa, you gotta protect your carry. Completely out. Yes, she popped the smoke or whatever, but she was nowhere nearby, and she needs to save Nana, right?
Yeah, I mean, Honey Lisa has been doing a good job in blocking smoke, into running into, just putting herself into Bren Esports initiation, but this time around, she did not do that. And Brainstorm managed to find the Spectre farming engine there. That's why normally we see Okay, hold on. Mars?
Into the Burrow Strike. Earth Spike is going to be used, and they focus right onto Mars, and you think he's tanky, and he is not when he gets destroyed like that. Borrow Time's now going to be committed. Nigan, they get the stun on. He runs back to the side. Moonlight's going to be used, but they did get Hazelia, but it's at cost of what? 3-for-1 in that fight. Spectre was already dead.
Man, Bren is just playing so well. They're just making moves together as a team. Everyone is setting each other up, and you just see anyone that gets stunned by the Burrow Strike by Zen King, they're just dead. The arrow will come in, the Split Earth will come in for the Lash, and most importantly, Ice Blast as well. And once Jia gets to level 12, that Ice Blast is going to be so much more stronger, and that's where Spectre don't have a game to play anymore.
She's the Ice Blasts have been on point. Just the way that they've done it, Nana has not been comfortable, and I'm actually wondering if Nana should be maybe on the other side of the river, on the Radiant side, maybe farming, because she keeps getting caught out in the same position.
Yeah, that's true. Look at the amount of deep ops that is giving all the vision for Bren for what they need to do. Like, they are not getting countered at all. They are not getting devoured at all. Honey Lisa missed another observer ward on the hill.
They found Nana again, and they're going to use Spectral Dagger or not into the arrow. Very nicely played. Split Earth, Ice Blast, throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. And Honey Lisa is like, all right, I just got borrowed time. Hopefully I can run away, but not really much you can do here. And they've taken both of those heroes down.
This is really the observer war giving all the information from Bren to do whatever they want right now. And this is why when we are going for a deep warding mission, we are so behind. normally, one would ask for their teammates to cover them, and that, unfortunately for Foxy Gaming, that were just the Spectre and the Abaddon.
Yeah, just hasn't had space, hasn't had that time, so to speak, to just farm. And you're seeing kind of how this Bren Esports, basically, when they've got you down, they don't let you get back up. They're kind of mean people like that.
Yeah, not at all. Like you might think that Abaddon is good in saving, but look at how many, look at the amount of chains that they have. Even Mirana has a U scepter as well to kind of Abaddon wake you up. I'm gonna fly you out with the cyclone into my arrow. That they have those amount of chains done, and that's really something that is just way beyond what Abaddon can do in this game. Now they're gonna hit the Roshan, should be a pretty free one. There's no way Foxy can check the Roshan HP here unless they want to commit for the Haunt. But they're smoking out though.
They need to I mean, they have Haunt if they want to go for this, but I don't know if... Okay, they're going to make their way to the Roshan pit. They're going to realize that something is up, and Roshan is not dead. They're not killing it fast enough. Haunt is now going to be used. They've got the arena and the nice little spear there. They're going to look to fight this one, and they're doing some work, and that's one way of getting back in. But the epicenter, it's doing some work as well. They've gotten 4 for nothing so far. They've gotten Roshan, and they've got Aegis, which is perfect, and Miri is now here with the BKB looking to turn this up. The Lightning Storm all over the place, but Mira now probably needs to run the Yules defensively, just not Cat Chaser, and she backs off here, but there's a buyback coming in from Hazelia.
That was the dream fight for Foxy Gaming. They just found themselves a perfect route to go all the way to the Roshan pit, and they dropped everything. They just straight out dropped everything. Lifestealer was really fast. He reached instantly and infest into the Mirana. Unfortunately, Minara died really fast. That's why he didn't get to heal too much from the infest. And then she died as well after that. So I would say Lifestealer, he did his best. He did the best, but that wasn't enough for them. I was just very surprised that no one from Bren Esports was actually blocking the smoke or was outside of the Roshan pit.
Everybody was in the pit. Like that seems, and they were doing it blind. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna just stay in here because we're, just hiding ourselves." But like that one person, you need like a sentry outside, like a person, not like a sentry ward. I'm talking like a guardsman, just kind of on patrol, so to speak, and just kind of looking out for that because they got completely caught off guard there.
Maybe they were underestimating Foxy a little bit. They thought they could have just walked away with the Roshan pretty easily. Now, Bren Esports comes back with the smoke. They know that most of the ultimates are down on Foxy's side. Most importantly, Horn and also Fingers of Death. That's why immediately making a smoke. Ooh, they see Nana soon.
Oh, they know it's near. Oh, and Ningen just gonna continue. Oh, the infest bomb happened, but she remnants away and just debated, so to speak. She does get out. Nana is going to make her way to the bottom lane. But, all right, you got to start chipping into these towers. You got to create some sort of space because you really don't have any space to farm.
Yeah. Fortunately for Foxy, Bren Esports, they really rely on having the lash rate with having the Aegis on the lash so that she could start sieging high ground. But without the Aegis, it's really hard for Bren Esports to push things forward or at least to end the game right now. So that's close to 10 minutes of breathing room for Foxy here to find some space for themselves. But Nana though, like you say, she has been playing around her own jungle more than playing in the enemy jungle. So she's very exposed to any sort of gangs coming up from Bren Esports. I think she might have to smoke herself to play at the enemy jungle. Because if you look at enemy jungle, that's completely empty. For the whole about 5 to 8 minutes, it's completely empty.
Yeah. She should be using it. She should be utilizing it because not only that, chances are it won't be awarded. And the second thing is that if they do, they're like, oh yeah, where's the Spectre? And then eventually they'll figure out that you're in their jungle, and they need to back off, which creates more space on your side of the map, and it allows you to farm.
Exactly. Now they are getting choked. They are all stuck in their own base because there were not anyone that is already positioning in the enemy jungle to cut wave or whatsoever. I think another thing Mars could do is also utilize his Blink Dagger here to start cutting wave, just stop the wave coming in so that they could have the chance to go out for some dewarding mission or just find some room to breathe. Because right now they are just in their own high ground and they are not getting anything. Even though they are not dying, but this is just Bren Esports slowly building the more advantage on the net worth and start having the itemization advantage as well.
And if you're looking at look at the build, Nigand just went straight blade mail into BKB next, like straight up defensively. Mars is kind of gone with the blink pipe. So there's really not a whole lot of damage aside from what Spectre has, but all Spectre has is a blade mill and a manta at this point. Who else needs to pick up the damage?
Man, at this point, I don't know. Because Ember Spirit, he did not itemize for any damage item or any scaling item. She went for these two very defensive fighting items that is really hurting herself. Because she's not scaling at all against the Lashrak, and once the BKB is down, she's not gonna do any damage to the side of face. So that's the biggest problem here. They will need to find another perfect fight for themselves, and then find another 3 to 4 minutes to upgrade their items. They see Jia though, but that's a post fight that you don't want to be breaking your smoke with.
But if you're looking at it, like wards are the biggest issue. The vision. They need to just de-ward. They need to take control of it because right now they're getting picked off and they know Moonlight is going to be used. They sense something is up and they know that Honey Lisa is nearby. And I mean, that's not the best one to go on. I mean, you got borrowed time here, but you let Honey Lisa die, you get out of there. And it looks like they're going to use Haunt just to kind of make her, like, try to give her a little bit of space. But at this point, I think it's better off just running.
The Horn was more like a defensive Horn, but to save the Abaddon though, that might not be very worth it because Abaddon has buyback. You don't really want to commit too much spells to save a post 5 that doesn't really do anything. So right now they committed a Horn, but that's just about it actually.
Now they have to defend high ground without it. At least with borrowed time, but Mars gets run up on. Gil just going high ground, does not care. And looks like they're going to focus their attention here in the mid racks or the mid tower. But Miri by herself, the borrow strike does connect. They end up getting it. That's a big kill getting onto Miri and Hezelia. This is the kill, and they got the finger as well. And that's a pretty big trade for them. Foxy will take that any day of the week.
100%. That was a really good punishment coming from Foxy. They knew that Lashrak used the BKB early on. That's why they went for that. Nigaya stopping Spectre here.
Mules into arrow. That's a nice little combination. The Earth Spike is just barely off the mark, and she actually gets away because the Earth Spike was just the tip, was just barely out.
That was a little bit sad there. I think Lion tried to go for the max range Earth Spike, so she smashed on the ground, but unfortunately it was just a little bit off there. That was a really close call. You couldn't blame her though. Yeah,
you get that one, you get that kill, and it's just massive. And anytime somebody gets away like that, that just makes it that much more difficult for you to get back in this game. Like, you need all the kills that are given to you. And if they're going to gift wrap them like that, you got to make sure you take it when you can. Yeah.
The sadder thing is also for Foxy, they didn't manage to turn this huge kill into any objective. So the 3 towers of Bren are still standing until now. It's 30 minutes of the game, and they're still having 3 tier 1 towers. The bottom is finally gonna fall to the siege creep, but that's just about it. But finally, still, Foxy Gaming, they can finally play this bottom tower for after 30 minutes.
Yeah. And they do have a little bit of space, and they did get the bottom T1, so they've got some sort of room. But here's the arena. They've got Nana, who's going to Manta out of this one. And, oh, a little bit of a... Okay, Nana, they got the Hex on, and she goes down. She does have buyback if she wants to go. But borrowed time's now going to be used by Honey Lisa, who throws it out, at least the Mystic Coil onto Ligaya. But they're going to look to focus on Miri. They do end up getting him, and so that's a pretty big kill. But now Gil is here, and they need to just kind of run off here. They Remnant back. They're just going to go to high ground. Buyback is coming from Miri. And Cat Chaser, the arrow, they're going to dodge that one. But Burrow Strike at least on to Cat Chasers. They got something. And he's taking so much damage. Jill with just so much damage on this hero. What are you supposed to do?
They don't have 4 staff, or they have 1 4 staff for Lion, but still though, we talk about how strong of a game this, how strong of lifestealer game this could be, right? And Gil with the Assault Cuirass plus Basher and also Open Wounds, he's doing so much damage.
Not even much of a chance. Yule's Split Earth gets forced away, but she's getting bashed here. No real chance. The Remnant was a baby Remnant because he was slow, not able to get away. The tip is coming. Ligaya right onto Gil, who's just completely dominating this game.
Yeah, that's a brilliant pickup coming from Gil with the shard. Open Wounds is so good, gives 50% lifesteal, especially when you're playing against tanky heroes like Spectre and also Mars, the percentage base damage.
In, they got the bro strike combination with the arrow, but the shield is on point, saving Sleepless. Borrowed time is now going to be used on Honey Lisa, who will probably pay for Sleepless's sins.
Bren is looking so strong. I think this could be GG. And there's Foxy, they need so much time. And look at Spectre, she's holding 4,200 gold. She's not buying anything just yet because she couldn't even go to the script shop. That's why she couldn't buy anything for that fight. And they are still holding Horn now. They might want to play for the last pair of racks with the Skadi picked up by Spectre, but that's not gonna do too much though, because Lifestealer, he's also completing his own Skadi. And if you look at Lash, Bloodstone coming up, BKB ready, they are not gonna die to Spectre at all.
I think the biggest difference that I've seen is the Jill and the Gia, the synergy that they have. Like the laning has been amazing, right? Where Jill has never really had to come from behind. She has almost all the space that she requires to get just this superhuman, this beast of an animal, because like she has so much time. She can come out of the jungle whenever she's ready, and you've seen just how much damage she can do. She's just incredibly strong, and this Bren Esports is a completely different level.
Yeah, I would say from laning phase, they have already put down themselves a very good foundation for Jill to eventually carry the game. Like you say, across all the games today, I don't think there's a single game Jill is pressured at all. So she's just, playing very safe, farming at the right place, building the correct item, and then eventually just walk up to his team and start contributing to the team by having just a very simple game. Everything looks very easy for Lifesteal, and you really have to give props to all the other 4 players from Bren Esports. They're just setting everything up together, and this unselfishness coming up from the trio of Bren are quite notable.
Very solid. Solid. Yeah. I've been nothing but impressed. I think they've been on point. Even their their rotations, just how they've kind of taken over the map. It's been very difficult for Foxy. I mean, there was that one time where there was no vision when they last tried to go for the Roshan, but they're gonna take it this one, and they're kind of in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, the smoke up, cheese on Lash, AGs on Lifestealer. This is gonna be the GG push coming out from Bren. They don't want to waste any time. They smoke up immediately, going straight to the base of Foxy. There's a siege wave coming with double catapult.
They've got some creeps. They're getting some wards up as well. They ping that out. They know something is up, but Miri's going to be just standing points here. Oh, they get the Burrow Strike infest, and they go right onto Nigan, who's going to have to try to slide around the Remnants, and she gets exploded on. She's going to have to buy back here. Honey Lisa's dead next. Borrowed time or not, it doesn't really matter when they can bash it down, but here comes Nigan. She's back in, and do they get anything out of this?
Mary is dead, though, and Mary get burst down. She did not get to use anything. BKB, Bloodstone, Cheese. She just got completely burst down.
Oh, the Spear in. Here's Azalea. They're going to focus up on Cat Chaser, who's going to get just back off now. And they're trying to run, but Gil is just this monster. How do you defeat the end boss? The nice little Earth Spike, but it's not going to be enough. Azalea with a nice Burrow Strike onto Nigan. Now they're going to have to use the BKB. This is all with Nana coming in, and they're going to look to focus this. But they're kind of doing damage throughout. Nice. Another 2-man Earth Spike. Arrow will connect. That's going to be a baby one. The Mystic Coil just keeping her alive. The Aphotic Shield. And she actually gets sent forward. The Manta, but she goes down. No buyback now. Another 2-man Earth Spike, but I don't think they have enough here. And they're going to go at least the Yules on Honey Lisa. They've got the chains as well. Nigan is looking to fight this one, but a nice 2-man Earth Spike. Or a Burrow Strike, excuse me. Hazelia has got the BKB, and they're looking to focus up, and they kill Nigan as well. No buyback on them, and Honey Lisa and Sleepless are like, we're supports. Let's just stay in the fountain.
And with that being said, they claim the last pair of racks, and even with Mega, even though Foxy really want to stay until the end, but unfortunately, I don't think the towers are strong enough to stay until Spectre responds. Oh no, Bren, they're going for it.
The raid, the glimmer, and the Ice Blast does connect. Okay, but they found Mars, and Gil is looking to just fight this one. Arena's going to be used, and yeah, it doesn't really matter considering they got the Ancients. So GG, 37 minutes, 31-14. And wow, completely different Bren Esports from what we're used to seeing, at least in previous FSLs.
Yeah, I mean, with the addition of Zia, I think this really solidifies the entire roster of Bren Esports, because both of us have casted a game before, and they look really solid this time in terms of how they've been using their numbers together to constantly snowball. And if you look at the snowball formation, they're always having Sanking, Mirana, A together. They're always sticking together as a ball. And wherever they go to, they'll just be covering and setting up for each other and just making Foxy's game so hard to play, especially when Nana constantly trying to recover herself from the ancient and just being constantly getting jumped on, and there's no safe or any teammates around her except for the Baron. So just a very well executed and very well draft coming up from Bren. And I think they're going to be a very big contender for the champion. If you and we talk about how strong Pacific Ping is, but Foxy Gaming they beat Pacific Ping, and this game didn't look close at all for them against Bren.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. And I think Foxy did a number on Pacific Pink where Bren Esports were really never able to kind of defeat them, at least in FSL. So having them kill their arch nemesis, so to speak, I'm sure gave them a lot of confidence moving in. And Bren Esports looked like they were on fire today, just kind of moving through. But mind you, Foxy Gaming is still not out of this. This is a double elimination tournament. They can fight their way back in through the lower bracket as well. Let's look at the bracket now and kind of see exactly what we're talking about here. And if you see it, Foxy Gaming, they're gonna wait for the Run It Down / Pacific Pink game. I believe that's going to be on the Twitch FSL channel as well. That's going to be going on right now, so I'm sure they'll tune in for that. But we're going to have the next. Oh, sorry, we're going to have that game tomorrow. Excuse me. We're going to start that one off. It's going to be 12 p.m. plus 8 GMT right here on the Facebook page for DOTA or FSL DOTA, excuse me. That one's going to be there. And then we're going to continue on for the rest and find out and crown a new champion for FSL DOTA 2 Open. Any final words before we sign off?
Man, I couldn't wait for tomorrow. I think tomorrow is gonna be a huge day. A lot of expectation from me for this brand, and of course, I want to watch the Pacific Pink games as well. So I think tomorrow is gonna be having a lot of great Dotas as well, and I hope these players have a good rest. It's been a long day for all of us. So shout out to everyone that's participating in this tournament, and of course the sponsors as well.
All right. And so please give Leonardo DOTA a follow. He's on your Facebook. You can find me on Holler TV as well. Just give us a shout out, of course. And we do love talking about Dota or all things gaming related. So feel free to reach out for that. If you want strategy, you go to that guy. If you don't want strategy, you go to this guy. All right. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. And see you till then.